You're watching CCN, Clarksville Community Network. Produced by Goodwin Productions. Powered by CDE Lightband.
Hey, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Hey, we got Coach P, we got Coach G from West Creek and Northwest here, and Coach Hood from Rossview. Welcome back to another episode. And today we're going to talk about sort of where we are at this point in the season as we go into the summer work. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. And Coach G, so I know you guys have been hammering it out, probably doing a passing leg or two. So what's going on over there at West Creek?
Yeah, so we just ran off the field to get over here. We've been doing a couple passing camps. We did one at Ravenwood where you saw the competitive teams. You had Ravenwood themselves. Green Hill was up there. Springfield was up there. Page was up there. And just a plethora of other schools that were up there that really gave us good work. We kind of are doing some things that we probably won't see a whole lot of in the season, but it's a good opportunity for us just to compete, kind of get over some of those quick failures of, misalignment and being able to run our offense and defense appropriately. So that was a good opportunity. And then we've been throwing in the city. We go to another kind of passing tournament, if you will, where again, it's 20-minute games. It's real quick. There's, a couple teams from the city and there's a couple teams from outside that I'll go there, and we do that once on Tuesday nights, and that's been real successful for us. We get a chance to fail early, and our big thing is, and a lot of people have been telling me this, is, because I get frustrated. I think the world's coming to an end because our young guys have only been learning it for 2 weeks, and, they're just now getting the hang of it. And, I have to remind myself that we're in June, that, that we still have, it's early.
Well, let me tell you something. As a veteran coach, you don't want to peak too soon.
For sure.
There you go. So, you don't want to peak too soon. Let me help you out with that one.
Yeah,
okay?
I appreciate that, yeah. Because, that is one of those things, like, you want everything to go.
Sure you do.
The way we just walked it and talked it on the board.
Sure. And
then we go outside and, bullets start flying, and then all of a sudden the kids are now, out of line, and they're trying to play hero ball and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun. Our kids have really enjoyed it. And so we have a couple tournaments in July, and then we go to camp. And then, once we get back, it's going. What about you guys?
Well, same thing for us. We've been sort of working on ourselves, focusing on Rossview. We got some new pieces to the puzzle, so we're trying to put ourselves together and sort of doing board work and walkthroughs and some video sessions and trying to do some, some sports psychology. Coach Prather's been coming over, and she's working with our team. So we got Honor Council. They presented some teamwork and the framework of our core values. So that was good today. So we're growing in that area just as much as we are on the field. The field's going well, just implementing new defensive and offensive schemes. We're getting there, but I don't think we've peaked yet. Mm-hmm. So, Coach G, I'm feeling okay right now. I'm feeling okay with that. So I think we're moving forward. And I think we have one more day before we hit the dead period. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so we're moving on, guys plugging in and trying to learn multiple positions in both sides of the ball. So no special teams yet. I don't know about you guys, but, we're sort of waiting for July for that. What about in Viking land over there? What's going over
It's more the same with you. We're definitely focusing on self as well. I tell the guys I'm just keeping you locked in the dungeon real quick because a lot of weightlifting every single day. We try to get a good weightlifting period in. And install, we're reintroducing our offense to new quarterback, new running back, a new core of receivers. We have, out of those receivers, we only have like 2 or 3 that are returning. But the beauty of it is our offensive line, they're in sync. They've been in this, they've been in our stuff for 2 to 3 years between those guys. So that's a really big thing. But like you said, just getting young guys implemented, getting our guys in shape, conditioned for things like that. So when July hits, when we have our tournaments, we hit the ground running. We're not running them in the dirt. More so, we're trying to find optimal levels to see where these guys peak at when it's time. Well, that's sort of football. So let me see.
Grass, mowing, fertilizer, sod. So, I mean, our field needs a lot of work. So we've got some sod going down on the practice field. We've got fertilizer, aerating. We got the track is being worked on, so we can't do nothing to the field, no water to the game field, nothing.
Wow.
The gym is being redone. Our field was flooded yesterday, so we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah. They destroyed
playing in the parking lot.
Y'all destroyed CHS.
So what about you guys? We do more than just football. So what else is going on in the field business? We talked about a robot.
Yeah.
So on my end, it sort of fell through. We're going a different route, but we talked about a robot to paint the field. So what's going on there with your maintenance of things besides football?
Well, I don't really do a lot of that.
Right.
I try to get that off my plate because I'm telling you right now, like I know there needs to be rye, I know there needs to be Bermuda, I know you need to drop some stuff on it. But I mean, if there was clover out there, we'd still play ball. You know what I mean?
That's right.
If they made us play in the street, we'd go play in the street. I'm not real good at that kind of stuff. I will say I fall short in that head coaching, you know.
So you're like, what do you need? What do you need, right?
I just say, who do you need to go do it? Because I'm not doing it. You know, I used to work for John Offit, and man, he'd be like, boys, I can't do much well, but I can grow some grass. And I'm like, I'm the opposite. I can't do that either. So
well, I thought it was like, you know, sun, a little Bermuda, and water. I thought that's sort of the main.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah. But here it's kind of like when you really don't want to do something around the house, you do it bad, so then no one asks you to do it again. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like there. I'm like, I play dumb the whole time. I'm like, I don't know where you want.
I know those words. I know Bermuda, and I know rye.
I've heard of it.
Is that the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah.
Is that like don't
Is that in the ocean?
get lost or
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
It's a grass?
Yeah.
Really?
So we generally have a good field. It's not because of me, I'll tell you that. But we're gonna get it turned around. We have been painting the field,
Right.
which has been, you know, that's probably the top 10 worst things to do as a coaching
It's
staff.
up there.
Like
It's
you
up
want
there,
team
man.
bonding, painting the field, not it. And
Most of the time-
if anybody's out there and they do have that strong urge to help paint lines, I mean,
Please.
come see me.
Please.
I'm easy to find.
Please.
Yeah, I mean,
May
it's
even
just-
write you a little check. Hey, man. You know,
Yeah,
Man,
I'll
look, we
pay
will.
somebody
I
because
will
I
There you go.
just.
So we're the same. Like our practice field is just rough, man. So it's gonna take some time with that. Our game field looks great, but you know, I've heard Bermuda, I've heard ryegrass, and I'm like, all right, hey, as long as it looks good by August.
Yeah.
Now lining the field, I'm more impatient too, man. Like I feel the same way. I hate every moment of painting the fields.
Do you run with the striper? Like, do you run like
No. I'm not stable enough to walk in a straight line. I have string out there.
Okay.
I have to like walk at a good distance to make sure it's semi-straight. The practice field, I'm out here. I'm just like,
doesn't
look, I
matter.
gotta get through
It doesn't
this.
matter.
I got lines
But
from 3 weeks
then you
ago
got
that I'm
all-
like, I bet I can hit that. And it looks like somebody's just been drinking and painting.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all
and then
good.
the worst,
Yeah.
I got a
Practice field.
6-yarder, a 4-yarder, and then back to 5.
Yeah.
You know. But the thing that makes it worse, man, is like I got. There's 10 of us. There's 10 coaches.
Yeah.
They're just over there like, yeah, all right, man. Like, just go, man.
Oh,
I'll
no,
just do
show
it.
'em. I want to make sure we all get hands
Here's what
on.
the can
you know?
goes.
See,
in.
this is where I dip though. This is where I get them. Laundry. I hate laundry
See, I'm
now.
not bad
That's
at
up there too as one of the worst things because, like today, the kids get jerseys because you know we were in helmets only, of course, but we issued out jerseys. But some days they'll wear the shirts. Well, shirts getting ripped. So I got parents on me like, hey, like I can't buy them a shirt every week now. I was like, look, it's fine.
Don't get aggressive.
So I give them the
out there.
jersey. Yeah.
Get
So we give them jerseys. The jerseys are issued. We're good. They're with the jerseys. But now I go do laundry and they're throwing the dirty jerseys in the clean ones.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever, coach. I'm like, no, like.
Yeah. Now
So
we
I
gotta-
look at it. Look, it's 9 of us. I'm about to get this little chore chart.
You gotta delegate it. Yeah, there you go.
You get that chore chart, and we're gonna have to get guys doing laundry. I hate the laundry portion of it.
Did Coach P say that ripping, would that be holding?
Yeah, I think
Like,
that'd be unnecessary
illegal.
roughness.
That's
Unnecessary
like a
roughness.
Ain't no refs
15.
in here now.
It could be at least 10,
And I
maybe.
know how you two are.
Well,
Ain't no
I-
refs in here. The
Yeah.
hold only happens if the whistle's blown and that
So,
flag's
you know,
flying.
if they don't see it, it's still okay, right?
yeah, no, just up in here. I'm gonna tell you get in here, but
Now-
hey, if you get in and he goes down, and there's nothing.
You guys are killing me.
Now,
Okay.
you guys took a kind of a cool trip I saw online that you guys went down and did the whitewater rafting.
Oh
How
man,
was
yeah.
that?
We went, took a bus. We had a short practice and got some food. hopped on the bus, went down to Coe. We stayed all night in these bunks, played games all night long, and they took us down the river, and man, that thing had a really good time, team bonding, and we only had one kid fly out of the raft, so that was good. Almost lost.
Did we get him back in the raft?
Yeah, we pulled him back in. It took a while. He floated, but we grabbed him, and our guide, we was moving pretty good, hit a rock and just dead stopped. He went flying almost completely out of the boat. We sort of called him, and I think he was sort of embarrassed, but I'm like, hey man, we almost went out, all of us, because it just is a dead stop. But it was good. We had a good time. We got to float down the ice cold water a little bit, and they all got on that bus, man. They was all in a coma all the way home, not a word. Got a little food on the way home.
How many kids?
We took 47 players.
Man, you
and
went down
about
the
8
river
coaches.
47 players and 8 coaches.
It was really fun, man. A good time. We got the bunk. Everything's on site.
Yeah.
So the bunks and the rooms are right there, and 50 yards away is where they take us, load us up on the buses. So everything's in house. There's nowhere to go. And it was really fun, man. A good time. I really enjoyed it.
You guys stayed overnight, right?
Stayed overnight.
So what was it, a 2-night trip?
We went down on Wednesday and stayed all night and went down the river on Thursday morning, and then we loaded up Thursday afternoon and come on back.
Man, that's
good
an awesome trip.
It was fun.
Just to kind of get down there.
It's about my 7th or 8th time taking the team.
Yeah.
And they always like it. It's really a good trip.
Because it's important. It's important based off of not only your culture, but building that team together, man. Like, I've had teams in the past in my young head coaching career, but I've had teams in the past that seem separate. It seems like they had cliques over here, you had linemen over here, stuff like that. Those moments and those experiences, going down the raft together as a team and working as a team on things like that, even just spending time all through the night, that just brings so much connection to a program. And that's ideally what we want as coaches.
Well, you also hear some kids scream that I thought it was like a bunch of girls going down in a raft beside us.
Yeah.
And I come to find out a couple of them were in my boat.
I thought it was a lineman, huh?
Yes.
Boys, huh?
Yes.
Big boys always scream like girls.
One was a lineman, you're correct.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was really fun. We had a good time with that. And so we try to do things like that from time to time. But that was fun. That's over with. And I guess now the dead period's coming up. So the dead period starts Saturday, if I'm correct. And I think it's the 24th, I believe. And then I think we come back the 9th. That's a Sunday. It ends. And then Monday we're back at it like on the 10th. Yep. So for all the parents, as we tell our parents, that's a great time for vacation.
Yep. Yes.
And so we'll be taking a break myself. I guess you guys getting plans over dead period?
I actually don't. I think I went to go visit my father, but I definitely will probably be in the area just hanging out with my kids and, having some good downtime and just
yard work, housework,
all of that good stuff.
Get everything you can done in your 2 weeks.
Garage probably get redone.
There you go.
2 weeks.
Yard
you got
work.
2 weeks.
Yard work.
Make that list.
Let me not say too much because if my wife sees this, then she's going to hold me to it. So I'm just going to do some stuff around the house.
She's got you.
Keep busy, Now,
you might be traveling somewhere now. Listen, last time we talked, you were illegal gambling in Nevada, and you got busted. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
I wasn't illegal.
Just kidding.
We were there for
coaching. There's apps, man.
That's all right, because
there's no illegal gambling.
I put that coaching clinic down for next off
You're
season.
betting on horses at Churchill Downs because they're all dead now. I don't know what's going on over there, man. But something. So you're going where are you heading out to?
So we're going out to Telluride. So we're going to land in Colorado tomorrow. Then we're going to drive out to Telluride. And my dad and kind of my family, we do usually we do a yearly family trip. Last year we went down to 30A. This year we're going to Telluride. So we're going to stay at like a kind of like a ranch and be ranch hands for a little bit.
Now you mentioned something like Yellowstone.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little horseback riding, campfires. I think there's a train ride where I guess I don't know where the train goes. You get on the train and there's some wine, some cheeses, I think, and you just kind of enjoy the sights.
So it's like Kevin Costner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When it stops, he's going to be, thank you for returning back to Clarksville. Like,
exactly.
What's going on, man?
How did we get here? But yeah, so we'll do that, and then we come back. We're here for a couple of days. Then I fly out to Wisconsin, where my girlfriend's family's at. And so we'll stay there for a couple of days, just kind of hang, spend the 4th with them. They kind of live on like a little lake there, so we'll get out on the boat and kind of just shoot some fireworks and kind of hang
No
out.
Kevin Costner over there, right?
Nah, we got to switch gears. We'll trade the hat. Yeah.
Different truck, put some swim trucks on,
Yeah.
a little oil.
We'll swap the chaps for some.
Little oil.
Yeah, a little oil. Yeah.
Because, we take our shirts off, we're like white, we'll only get tan from.
We got to eat. Well,
we get.
I don't know about you guys, but this summer I get out on the boat quite a bit, so I'm pretty
roll.
even.
Okay,
I'm pretty even. You know what I mean?
You're good.
I don't know how far. We're pretty even.
Let's go back to episode 1 and look at how our skin tones were looking then.
back to
We're about a little darker
Go back
than
to January.
We look a little darker compared to episode 1.
It'll be good to see a good transition, but yeah. So we'll do that and then kind of go from there. What about you? I know you're possibly traveling tomorrow.
Yeah, man, we got a little camper, me and Shelly, so we're traveling the world, having some fun with that, hitting a lot of races and just visiting people and having some downtime and going to hit Hawaii. We're going to take a little trip to Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought I could swim. It's too far. Got a boat. That ain't going to work. Can't take the raft from Macoa. It doesn't go through Chattanooga, so I guess we're flying. So we're going to hang out there for about a week, and we'll get back. And when that's done, it's like back to football, man. We're going to be grinding. As you know, it's July we get back, and it's, for anybody who doesn't know, it's July till whenever you end, hopefully late in or early December. That's always the goal, but it's going to be hammer time for all the coaches and players and just business that we got to attend to for everybody. It's going to be rocking and rolling.
What races are you checking out?
I'll go to, I'm a big dirt car guy, so we go up to Maryville. We'll go up there, get big boys roll in, so it's 50,000 a win. And then this weekend we'll go to Nashville. We'll go up there for the weekend, watch the NASCAR guys come in. And I'm Mr. Racing Up. If you don't know me, I'm football and racing, man. That's my life. It's what I do. I love it. Always have.
I'm the bougie racing guy. I'm a Formula One guy.
That's me too, man. I love it.
I love
the
Formula
F1
One.
guys.
Drive to
Bougie as
Survive has
ever.
got me on it. Yeah.
Oh man, after I watched that, man, I've just been hooked on watching races, man. I love
good
Formula
stuff,
One.
man.
They
That's
got
the
one
big
in
boys.
August. They got a race down in August in Nashville.
They got, that's the IndyCar guys.
Yes, the IndyCar guys.
And then they got the Formula One. They got Miami, which they just raced a few weeks back, and then they go to Austin, Texas.
Austin.
I think it's late in October.
And
so,
the big debut of Vegas is at the end of the season. Las Vegas.
Is that going to be F1?
F1.
I didn't see that
They'll
one.
be in
Cool.
Las Vegas. It's this. I think this year's the first year.
So we all going to Vegas, man. Like
have to
you're
go
like the
check it
Vegas
out. We'd
guy.
have
we got to go to
Vegas
his spots though. We
We'd
got
have
to
to
go to
poke our
his
head in.
spots. We got to go to his spots.
Yeah.
He'll lead us. We've been in Vegas the whole time, G. Can you lead us? Come on, Gallowitz, lead us to the track somewhere, can't we, man?
I can lead you to the roulette table. That's about it. You know what I mean? I don't know much else. We did when we were there. So I went twice this year. We went back. We went to one of the March Madness games. We went to the Elite Eight game.
That's
So that was
great,
pretty
man.
neat.
That has
That's
to be
neat.
fantastic.
We got. I think it was. I forget who it was. Gonzaga and somebody else. And I mean, they steamrolled. And it was pretty good. It was really neat.
Packed. That's
So,
where was the game located?
in Vegas.
I mean, like the arena or.
Is it what UNLV? Or
Yeah.
is
Is that their?
Nah, it wasn't UNLV. They had another stadium, I
They
think.
might have built one. Might be like the football stadium.
Yeah.
They
But it was
built.
no, it wasn't UNLV. It was at like their hockey stadium, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was where the Las Vegas Knights play, the
Oh,
Golden
great.
Knights.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
won a
But yeah, so in July, because we take that first week of July off, and then really it's 2 weeks without pads, and then we get into pads that third week.
Just have physical. So we're running around in shorts and little shirts that we're ripping apparently over
Yeah.
there in Northwest, and then helmets, and we're thinking we're all cool. We're running routes and we're looking pretty, and we're blocking air and blocking bags. All that looks good. So you think it might change if we put the pads on and get after somebody? What do you think there?
I think it's really interesting because like we have a pretty good like freshman class coming up.
Right.
And so you really don't know what, like you can see them move, you can see them kind of run around, but it changes a whole lot, especially when you're planning to go hit, and when you have to get physical with the game. The guy that's been playing corner now has to come up and kind of help out, set the edge, and the safeties, instead of dropping back the entire time, they have to come up and be our alley players. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I think we're really excited to kind of get pads on to kind of see where we're at, because you might have a guy has done incredible in the spring and the summer, but then you get him in pads and it's like, man, like
It's not the same guy.
It's a little different of a player, and now you're kind of
heartbreaking.
back to the drawing board sometimes, especially with like offensive and defensive linemen. The summer, in my opinion, is kind of the sexy season, where they the skill guys get to go out and throw and compete, and the linemen just continuously are just beating up on bags. And I think because we'll scrimmage. We have 2 scrimmages. We'll go to the Fort Campbell scrimmage, and then we'll go to Greenbrier. or Greenbrier will come to us. And that's finally a time for them to kind of put what they've been working on for 2 months into action. And so we're really excited about that. So what about you guys?
You know, the linemen, you know, like we do some skill stuff. The linemen might block air one time. They might do a little bubble or they might run a route. But those linemen, they hit every play. You can't hide up there. You got to be physical. You got to be mean. You know, football always comes down to blocking and tackling. If you can't block and tackle, you're going to have a rough time at it. So what about you guys over there?
It's more of the same. The first thing, like coming back from dead period, is we have the Hopkinsville tournament, which is a 2-day tournament.
That's a bit like usually like 13th, 14th big tournament.
13th and 14th. So we get back, you said about the 9th, 10th, and that Thursday you're up on it. It's time to go. So a lot of that stuff you're reviewing and going over to make sure, because the first day, my opinion, the first day you're still trying to get the sluggish cobwebs and all of that out from players being down for 2 weeks, because not every player is going to be the ideal guy that's going to go lift every day or get his buddies and go run some routes and stuff. They're not all. They're going to sit on their butts. They're going to play games. They're going to play video games. They're going to eat Cheetos. They're going to do their thing. But so that first day you got to get all of that out of there, and then you got to prepare for a good 2-day tournament. And then we'll have Pope. We'll scrimmage Pope John Paul first. That'll be a big scrimmage to see what we can do, because, like you said, when pads come on, it's like the truth is a light.
Yeah,
the truth is a light. And if your guys, you know, you don't want to give them you don't want to give them somebody where you know that you can't analyze or see what you expect out of them. You want to give them a challenge. You want to give them a challenging team. And I thought Pope has been perfect for us for the last 3 years, whether it's been 7-on-7 or scrimmaging them, because they're disciplined, they're a tough team, and they're always going to have talent, and they're always well coached. So a team like that going down and to visit them and play them is one of the big things. And then going into that, we go Cheatham next. Cheatham County will come to us, which if you've been at his 7-on-7s at CHS, they're a really good, really improved team, especially at quarterback.
Right.
I mean, they got a really good quarterback that can throw it like really well out there at Cheatham. And, you know, Gary Halstead is actually a really good coach, and those kids run through wall for that guy. So them coming down, a team like that's, you know, doing really well, that we've played the last couple of years, would be another good challenge for us going into the Jamboree. How about you?
Well, so for us, we got we'll go back and just start hammering out. Got meetings time. We got to put special teams in, start implementing all that fun stuff, and you know, three parts of the game that we really got to focus on. Then we'll go to good pastors going to come to us, and then we'll go to Station Camp. They're going to be 2 good football teams. Both of them, you know, Station Camp has really been elevated the last few years. I think you guys played them last year.
We did.
Good, solid team. I think they got a lot of players back. Got a new coach, but he's on staff, so I think they'll be doing a lot of the same. Yeah. Good pastors, just well coached, good private school kids, and smart kids, execute. You know, you'll see that's very similar to you guys with JP2. Then I guess we're the Jamboree, man. It's time to rock and roll and then get after it. And then we got game 1. We got Wilson Central at our place. I know they got a new coach. You know, they got a new defense coordinator, Coach Coleman, too. So a lot of good things going on, man. It hits fast, and really just basically of the taping today, basically a month from today, 30 days from now, we're sort of hot and heavy, and we're rolling with it. It's that quick.
So my question is implementing special teams, because special teams is very important. Yep. You know, it really is. How is it an adjustment as head coaches with your schedule, your times, your periods throughout a practice to try to implement a good amount of special teams? What are you cutting down on as opposed to adding more of the special teams into your schedule? Because we only go a few hours, and now you're in a rhythm right now going into dead period. Now you got to reassess and go back and say, well, now we got to do kickoff today.
You got to block time for it.
Exactly.
Right?
So how do you manage that as
well, so
head
for
coaches?
us, I've had it different ways, but for us, I always start with special teams. So I want our kids to know if we're going to a warm-up or a tackling or a short run or short conditioning period, then we go right into special teams. I want them to know that it's that important. Now, it all depends on my special team coach. Sometimes if he comes later, I got to mix it up in the middle or the end, whatever, but I like to start at the beginning if I can, and then we just schedule in, you know, probably 2 or 3 special teams a day, and then the next day we'll go back and hit the other 2. So we sort of rotated. At one time, we used to be able to get every special team in every day, and looking back, I don't know how we ever did that. I really don't know how we did it. So most of all, I think we understand if kids are hopping around and the more they execute, the quicker it goes and you can move on. But the more times you got to repeat things. If you're repeating a block, if you're repeating a kick, if you do it over and over again, because if you're punting the ball and you got to do something over, then they got to jog all the way back, reset it, or sometimes we'll stay down there and flip it and come back to save time. So I think you always got to block out. We usually block out about 20 to 25 minutes, maybe 30 to start, but then we go about 20 to 25 minutes every single day. So we're doing some special teams every day and working that in because I think it's that important because obviously to me, what gets you beat is a block punt and a kickoff return. So I always work on kickoff, always work on punt, the first two I put in because punt return's important and so is kick return, but the other two can get you beat quicker than anything and turn the tide. So. Yeah. What about you guys?
I think last year we did it we started implementing it into camp because our practices, we usually go about 2 hours. So this year we had kind of an idea of like in July we would start kind of putting in more of our, like we would almost turn it into like conditioning.
Right.
So instead of like running sprints, like just aimlessly, we would do kickoff and then kickoff return. Right. So like our kickoff team would run down there in their lanes and then the return team would like go next, and then they would like return the ball, and everybody would get to their wedge or whatever it is.
Let me ask you a question. So during this, so did you work on onsides kicking like your kicker? Because I remember. You did work on
like to the field or to the boundary side. Like,
yeah, I remember there's a game.
Sometimes primarily which way?
There's a game somewhere where you was like onside kicking.
Yeah, for a friend.
Yeah.
It's funny now. I'm laughing now. You don't laugh on Friday night.
I saw the coach yesterday, and I don't think he still thinks it's funny. I still think he's just like.
He thinks you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but we try to get him situated. We try to get him squared up. Sometimes even the kicker doesn't know where the ball is going, you know?
Yeah, I know.
But luckily, we've got a really good kicker. That was just a bad game he was having, and usually he can kind of put the ball where we want it. So he's been working on that this summer, and he's done a really good job, and so we're excited about him. But
when you played us, I didn't see the onside kicks.
You
looked pretty good.
We were trying to keep it together, and we had a good punter that game, and we were trying to really get you guys deep. That way, we were trying to take a lot of the field away from you.
Field position.
Trying to, and I think we did a pretty good job. And then, so for special teams though, we really try to, because again, for us, it's a little bit more. We're trying to still get the offense kind of rounded out. So we're trying to.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people say it's 1/3 of the game. In my opinion, it's really not. Like, I mean, it is an aspect, but the amount of plays that go into a game, very few are reserved for special teams, and so it is important. But we really need to make sure that our offense is able to score 28 points, and we need to make sure our defense can hold people under 21.
Shut them down.
So you try to keep those two facets really, really rounded out and focus on those, and then in camp we start to implement it. We'll do, like we said, we'll kind of work on running lanes and things like that, but our individual special teams drills and how we break it down will be more set for the end of July, and then that'll give us about 4 weeks to kind of really build that into the schedule.
But Northwest, how you sort of implement yours? And
we'll start right there coming off the dead period, and just like you, we'll go kickoff first. I think kickoff coverage is the most important one because it tells you a lot about your team. Mm-hmm. If you're kicking the ball, if you're on kickoff, first play, first game, and you make that sound hit, it just sets the tone for the whole fourth quarter.
So here's your guys, and you don't want to see them do something like this?
No, absolutely not. Yeah. You want them.
That's not it. That's not outside lanes. And we work running, or do we sort of
get down there? Get down.
We call that free man. Every man for himself.
Go find it.
Hey, we've all seen it, right? Like these guys, the wedge busters, are splitting here, they're running wide. And, And it's funny now. We laugh now.
It's definitely important because now it tells you your personnel, like who is willing to go down there recklessly and hit. It takes a special person to just run
you gotta be a little crazy.
Through some people to go find somebody and hit the mess out of them.
Crazy.
You got to be.
That's got to be your areas.
That's got to be. So that's really important, and we'll go from that all. We'll probably do 1 per day or 2 or 3 per day, and all the way through first game. We always do. Special teams is very important to me. we've been really good on special teams because we've had to punt a lot. We've had to kick return a lot in the previous years, but I mean, it's sound, it works, and hopefully we won't have to do it as much. That means we're doing well.
I got you.
Well, I think people don't understand, like the punt game is like massive.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like there's a huge type, like, you know, I'm a big Ohio State fan, so, you know, they put out this chart that showed percentages, and I show it to my kids every year of where you start on the field.
Makes a difference.
Shows the percentage that you're either going to score or score a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so it is kind of a neat chart, and you can kind of use that as a psychological thing for the kids of like, look, like if you hustle down there and you get them here, well, you've just shaved off 20% chance of them scoring. Like that's huge. That's what we want.
It's kind of like a secret weapon, because if you have a kicker that can knock it 40 yards, 40 plus yards in a punt, changing the aspect of a game like that, pinning guys down within the 10 and, you know, switching field positions, man, that's very, very important as far as if your defense is clicking.
Yeah.
If your defense is struggling, you want to flip the field and give them, you know, a lot of grass to get to, you know, for the opponent to get there. But if your guys are clicking, hey, we're up by 4, or we're down by 3, and we have like 6 minutes left, I could still kind of punt here because my defense has been working all night, and I have the confidence to get off the field. Mm-hmm. So those all tell you, based off of what you see in practice and how your special teams is rolling, those are important features for actual in-game scenarios.
Yeah. We had Chance Seiler come out and kick for us last year off the soccer team. Phenomenal all-region soccer kid. And, man, I've had some really good special teams in the past, but he really made us just a better team with him kicking, rugby kicking. He was smart. He knew when to kick it. If pressure came, he could do all that. Kickoffs. I mean, he was really just phenomenal. Yeah. Makes us more than just one-dimensional, you know, when you can mix it up and do things. So that was huge for us. Let me ask you this. So this happened one time years ago. Have you ever taken a safety in a game to win the game, more or less? So have you ever intentionally taken a safety? I
don't think we've ever been in that position.
That's a weird position to be in.
Yeah, it is a weird position.
It's got to be a point spread, right?
Yeah, there has to be a certain point spread. So I'm usually pretty good with those. But the opportunity hasn't been there.
Point spread, I get it.
How many? We haven't been in
Kevin Coster, Coach Coster over here.
Yeah. But we haven't been in a situation like that, you know, where we're able to give it up. Usually we're trying to protect a lead, or, you know, we're going to try to dig ourselves out of, you know, especially because, like, if we're backed up in certain situations, you definitely don't want to give any momentum.
Sure.
Because, like, even let's say you do take that safety, that is a momentum shift, you know. And so while you may be up now by 8 instead of 10 or whatever it may be, you know, like, that does give life to the other team mathematically, where they say, hey, if we go down here and score and get a 2-point conversion, like, we tie, like, we're back, you know.
Well, we was in it one time. We was Fort Campbell semifinal game. We're on the road. We're up by 11. We're getting ready to punt out of our own end zone. I'm like, just take the safety. So we took the safety, and that still put us at 9. So even if they scored, we're still pretty good shape with an onside kick. So we end up, they didn't score, but within a minute, you know, we sort of held our own in the clock ran out. So that was the only time I've ever been. Now, I've got a couple safeties. I've had a punter drop the ball twice in one game, one time, in the end zone twice in one game. But, you know, as far as taking a safety, as far as strategic, have you ever been in that situation? It's a weird situation.
It really is, and I have not, but I understand, like, what you're explaining, especially in a point where, like you said, if you're up and your defense is playing well and they're playing sound, you know, from 11 to 9, I'll take a safety there.
If they block a kick or something silly happens, or if they get the ball on the 30-yard line, that's 7. That's
not a good look. That's not a good move.
Then you're right back in the ball
and you got time. Yeah, I understand. I think that scenario makes sense, but I've never been a part of that. It's fascinating to think about, though. That's worth the time out there. I'm calling, hey guys, should we take this safety?
Let's take it. Block hard and run out of the end zone.
Yeah. Well, I think it is funny, you know, especially because, like, you know, on Friday night, there's so many. Sometimes there's so many voices in the headset, and then sometimes there's no voices in the headset, and you're trying to navigate that and make a decision on the fly.
Hold on. So,
Here we go.
So one part you're saying everybody knows what's going on. It's all great. And at other times when it's quiet, you mean like nobody's got an answer to anything at the moment? Is that sort of
And then everybody in the stands thinks we're taking our headsets off because we're pissed and we're talking. But it's just like 6, 7 guys.
Yeah.
Like,
They're just like
I
the
can't
stands.
hear
They
this.
got all the answers.
I'm trying
right?
to relay this.
Yeah.
Like, I always take my
Well, and
headset
it was,
off.
you know, because we have a really, Charles Woodworth is, I mean, he's our kicker and he's a phenomenal guy. And, you know, it kind of was like a situation when we played you guys, like very tight game. They creeped back on us. They're up. If we kick the field goal at the end, we had about 2 minutes left. If we kick the field goal, we tie it. If we go for it, we more or less probably win the game.
Right.
And so we're down on the 20, or we're probably within like the 15 maybe. And I'm like, I know Charles can make this kick. And instead, I'm on the headset. I'm like, are we going for it or not? And you just hear like,
Cricket.
I'm like, is the battery on? Guys,
Click, click.
like,
hey.
because I'm not a very like, not that I'm not confident, but I do want other opinions. That way we can all just kind of like, hey,
then sometimes you're getting talked off the ledge, right?
yeah, like
It's like,
sometimes
hey,
like,
we're at the
doing?
20, we're going to 3. No, man, well, let's kick the field
and it
goal.
was
you know?
4th and 1, and we come out of a time, bro. This is the worst part.
tough.
We come out of a timeout. We have 10 guys on the field.
No.
You want to shoot yourself.
And we decided to snap it to our running back instead of just give it to our quarterback who usually takes the snaps. We decided to snap it to a guy who usually doesn't take the snaps. And so that was one of those coaching moments where you're like, it was such a moment of growth because, like, you know, if we make it, well, that call was a hero call. You know what I mean? Like we were playing a little loose.
Sure.
You know, we did make it, and everybody's like, "You should have kicked it." Yeah, I would have kicked it. You know, parents are like, "Oh, I would have kicked it." I don't know why we went
Was
for
there
it.
time left enough where you could get the first down and then make a play at the end zone, or you just
Oh
had
yeah,
to
yeah.
get
We
it
had plenty of time.
Oh, okay,
we had about
okay.
2 minutes, and so
that's
we ended up
tough,
not getting it, and then we forced it. We made them punt, and then we got it back, and that's where you just have teams like, especially with where West Creek was last year, they had never been in a game where like time is of the essence.
Right,
you got to
absolutely.
go, boys. Like,
Absolutely.
like we drill it all the time, and we have our 2 minute periods, and we go through that. But when you're in the game, it's so much different because there's there's another element of pressure. And so practice, it's like, oh, we dropped the ball, it's not a big deal. Run it back. In the game, it's such an essence of like, we've got to go. And if you don't and we were facing the scoreboard, I'll never forget it. And we had we threw a screen pass, and we got down on a 30, and time was up. And I mean, that's one of those games you're like, oof. Like we had 2 good opportunities. There were some coaching calls that I could have done better. But like being in those games is such a valuable learning experience, even though we lost. Like for us at least, it was you know what that type of pressure feels like when you're in that game, and the kids have a different respect for the 2 minute period. Now, when we run that 2 minute period, we chalk it back to, hey, I'm just letting you know, like we had an opportunity there at the end. And
absolutely.
and this is no disrespect, but like we beat Rossview. We're in the playoffs for the first time since 2010.
Exactly.
Like we make it. We're there.
And that's the same thing with us. That happened to us as well. And I always resort back to the Kenwood game where we win, we're in, right? Last season. And the first going into halftime, our 2 minute period was pristine. It was ran to the T. Raymond marched down the field. We got a score. We were good. To the end of the game, we're down 6. We're down 6 with 38 seconds. And, hey, I'll always tell my guys that was a me error. Because there's a play where we throw and we stay in bounds, and I don't automatically call timeout. I'm sitting here like, well, what are we doing the next play? And my OC is like, hey, timeout. I was like, crap, timeout. 16 seconds went off the board. 16. And that's huge when it's 37, 38 seconds. We get the completion, we get another completion, we clock it, we got 3 seconds left compared to, I'm saying if we had 16 seconds, we get closer. We still make a play to march down the field within that time, and we made a really good throw, and our receiver goes up like this, but at the last second, he tries to bring it in here, and it goes right through, right as time expires. But when you look at that, even though it's an opportunity, it's the second to the last game of our season, just like you said, like, it was ran so beautifully. Like, running a 2 minute drill and executing it, whether you score or not, if you do it the correct way, man, it's unstoppable, and it's beautiful to see on film. But even coaches mess it up too, man. Yeah. Even coaches do. The players are running it to the tee, and I shave off 16 seconds on a final drive, man. It sucks. It sucks.
Well, I think some of that, you know, I've been a head coach as far as just a head coach with implementing things, but I've also been a head coach where I've been a defense coordinator. I've also been a head coach where I'm an offense coordinator. Those things are different. So when I've been just a head coach, it's a lot easier to manage the game when you're watching that. And my son's a kicking coach for us, so he always lets me know, hey, we're getting close. He'll let me know those type of things. Hey, he's good from 40. He's good from this. Hey, this much time's on the clock. He lets me know, so we've got a good communication with that. But as an offensive guy, then I'm calling the plays. I'm trying to get in bounds, out of bounds, clock the ball, check it out, call a timeout. It's a little bit different. So on the defensive side of the ball there, again, sometimes do you need to call a timeout? Do you need to regroup? Sometimes you don't want to stop the clock, or sometimes you have to, or keep them in bounds, stay on the grid, don't let them up real fast, you know, all those little techniques that you got to do. So I think those are important as coaches, that we're always learning and growing from our mistakes. You know, the kids make mistakes. I know I always felt like I don't want to be the one that caused a mistake, right? You want to be the adult, but we're human like everybody else, that you're always learning from those positions. So are you calling the offense or defense?
I'm not. So this is going to be the first year I kind of gave it to my assistant because both of them are going to be brand new coordinators. We're running the same defense, so I am kind of helping on both sides of the ball. I just couldn't take over the defense and try to help offense.
Sure.
Because I think it does, like, as a defensive coordinator, I would say I'm a better offensive coordinator because I understand what the defense is doing and what they're trying to take away, and then you understand like the concepts that are that fit into it. Like, all right, this is how we can influence this overhang player if we flare the back out into a swing route. You kind of have an idea now of, okay, he's going to do this, so that if we run this route behind it, it'll be open. And so that kind of gives me that perspective of, you know, I've got a new offense coordinator. I have a full faith in both of them. And, you know, the defense is kind of easier for me to pick up and kind of put people where they need to be. And so, you know, we've really, like yesterday, we split the field. So my OC will take one side of the field. I'll look at the other. I have a couple young coaches, so we're training them just like to watch one half of the field. And then same thing with my defensive coordinator. He takes one side, I take the other side, and we just watch. And then there's a lot more coaching being done because I'm only watching 2-3 people. Right. Hey, it may be an alignment issue. It may be, you know, just something you know, easy. And then we have an injured player right now, and he charts everything for us. So pass catch, you know, who was out there, who was getting, like, who got pulled and then who got put back in. So then we can kind of go through the film and kind of use some of the notes and say, okay, you know, we had this guy. So, I mean, with that being said, it does make you feel a little helpless. And I don't know if you've ever stepped away from, like, play calling duties, but you feel like you almost have nothing to, like, no responsibility. So I feel I do overstep sometimes where my defensive coordinator, he's phenomenal. He will, like, I need to let him coach it.
Right.
But sometimes, like, I'm up in the meeting, like, on the board, like, hey, but this is why we got to do it this way. This is how.
Nature, right? Yeah. That's nature as defensive. I'm a defensive-minded coach, too, and I will definitely do the same exact thing to my poor defensive coordinator, man.
But you got passion. You know, it's hard to sit back and you want to help and you want to make sure they understand it, so you get up on the board and you want to draw some stuff. But this is why
you are stealing that power from them, I think, sometimes. And I have to remind myself, like, let them teach it. Let them, because, I mean, to an extent, like, you don't want the kids to look to you like, all right, well, who am I listening to? Like,
it definitely
you're listening
depends
to him.
on you let him run the show, and what I usually do is I point out the little things about it. Hand placements, is his footwork correct? Are they stepping the right way? You know, are our angles make sense to that match? And I think in those sense, that's the most important thing. It's not, we don't want to step in and be like, well, hey, we're not going to do that, or hey, he's saying to do this, but you should do this. It's, you definitely have to compliment the person that's teaching your concepts and things like that. So that's the most important part in my eyes, in my opinion, as, you know, defensive or offensive minded coach looking on to your coordinators. especially young coordinators, like you said, y'all said.
And we have just a green staff. We have a lot of new guys and just people that they've played football at a high level, at college level, but they've never been on this side to where it's like, hey, like you've got to coach it this way, or this is how this fits into this, or So and they've done such a good job. But
they
it
got
is
because you let your offensive coordinator run around with a Stetson on like no other, and he's only 80 pounds.
My man, we call him the Miami Cowboy. You know what I mean?
Coach Crane, man.
He's from Miami, and so Coach Crane.
Where did the cowboy hat come in at?
I have no idea.
Crazy story about him. Me and him coached together. Crazy story about him. He went to Florida and Florida State.
Yeah. So he was a Gator and a Seminole?
But he claims the Seminoles for sure.
He definitely claims the Seminoles.
I like him.
But he wears a cowboy
hat.
Like he wears a big cowboy hat and he runs around. I mean, he's no bigger than that hole over there. And I mean, but he is such like a very detailed. He's a history teacher.
Right.
So sometimes I'm like, Crane, you only got 30 minutes, baby. You burn them right here.
So analytical,
but he is real good at like, this is why we're running what we're running.
Right.
Like, this is how it fits. Like, whiteboard-wise, this is how it works. He's really good with the kids. Kids love him. He takes in feedback. He says, hey, this may work, this may not work. And he's really good at studying the game. Mm-hmm. He's very knowledgeable. So I mean, that's when you got guys like that. Like, it's easy to like kind of give things to.
Yeah. Makes your job easier.
1,000%. And then Coach Jay does a great job. He's my dude-all guy. And but it is tough being in my spot where it's like it's almost insecurities letting stuff go. You know what I mean? Of like,
did that ever run you like? Did you ever have to say, all right, this season I need to step back because it ran you in the dirt of being the coordinator and the head coach?
Yeah, after my first year at Rossview, I had to give up the offense. I just had too much between boosters and field and POs and talking to people and getting in the weight room and just trying to get all that. It was just, at that time, it was just too much for me. So luckily I had Coach Young come on and took my offense and had no problem with that. He did a really good job. And Coach McKillop was doing my defense. So I had two good guys I can trust. And most of the time, I think most of the people let you know that I've worked with, most of the time I'll let you coach. We might talk and do things, but if you've got it, I'm going to let my coaches coach. I'm not going to, Coach Young's doing my defense, man. He's got the defense. I don't step in his business because I'm doing the offense this year, so I'm getting away from that and just focusing with my guys on what we're doing things. So, yeah, for sure, sometimes it gets to be so busy. And I think some of these college coaches, to be honest with you, I don't know how you can be a college coach like what was it, TCU coach Gary Patterson? Mm-hmm. He did the defense for like 15 years.
He did.
And he was the head coach. How do you do all that? How do you go to meetings and scheme and plan? Now, I know you got GAs and they get your cut-ups and they get your stuff and you got great coaches, but still you got to be prepared for Saturdays or Friday nights to do all that stuff. So it just takes time, It takes time. And as head coaches, you got to know there's so many things. Like, see, my phone gets really busy right when practice starts. I don't know if it hits you. Like practice starts in 5, so bing, ding, 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 ding. It's just ringing. I already know what it is, right? Coach, I'm gonna be late. Coach, I'm in traffic. Coach, this, So, or parents calling or something, and I just let it go, because I'm on practice time now. So, but yeah, I think sometimes I've enjoyed being away from it to oversee it. I've enjoyed coordinating. I've been a defense coordinator, special teams coach. I've been an offensive coordinator, so I've enjoyed all of it. I really love special teams. It's sort of one area I really got started at Fort Campbell, and we had some good coaches and great players out there. It made it easier, but it was really fun. And so we tried, we was pretty good at that time. We were scoring like 45 points a game. So I'm like, hey, man, drop kicks, 2 points, right? So I'm like, hey, we get up on people, man. But we would practice it about once every 2 or 3 weeks, and the backup quarterback would come in, and it was just a little too embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
Too embarrassing to try. Okay, if you hit a couple in practice, dude, we're gonna roll with it, Yeah. But it's just, sometimes a little embarrassing, But we thought about it, man. We had it in 2 points.
We did it. We did it one time against it was JV.
Yeah.
We were at CHS. It was against when Busby was over there, Coach Busby, and off it was like drop kick it for a field goal or for an extra point.
Right. 2 points.
Well, I think it's one. Is it?
It's
not?
2.
Is it
2
really?
points?
I don't know. Well, we did it, and just
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive it's 2 points.
And we got it. And so then, like, literally, and nobody moves. Like, everybody's shocked that it went in.
What's going on?
And so they're looking, and they're like, and we're like, let's go. and she's just like, hold on, what just happened? And the referees are like checking with each other, like, and offense like, done, we did it. It's in the rule book. I found it. We drop kicked it. We got it. And I was
that's
like,
good. Well,
that's
I think it was
insane.
Flutie. I think Doug Flutie kicked one years back. If I remember right. That's his 2-pointer. New England. That guy was super talented.
In the snow.
Yeah, we did it. I don't want to brag, but we did the JV.
That's good
JV
stuff.
at West Creek, my first year, second year coaching.
PATs, you get a little crazy. Hey, it's just drop kick it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we've been talking about some offense and defense, special teams, and we sort of got away from some things we talked about in the past that we want to see where we shore up and get things better. So the quarterback position, right? So we went over a spiel about that, one of our last episodes about our quarterbacks and growing and what they're seeing. So you guys been in some 7-on-7. So obviously throwing's pretty important. I would advise you to run one draw just one time, fullback or something, man, freaks them out. That's another story. I would throw it in there one play. Anyway, okay. So how's the quarterback situation looking? I don't know, you mixing it up? How you come along? You got one guy, you got two guys, you got three guys?
Yeah, so we've gone into kind of 7-on-7 season. The 7-on-7 season for us is more about competition and just kind of putting ourselves in those situations where it's, hey, you're down by 7, you've got 40 seconds left, you've got to drive and go do this and lock into a mental state that you normally wouldn't be put in practice. So we are using a quarterback that we probably will use somewhere else because he is the better throw of the two. But the young guy, DJ Swanson, he is the guy that we think is going to do well at quarterback. He's going to be kind of our game manager. He's going to be really our point guard. He's going to distribute the ball and make sure that he makes the right decisions. He's really, really intelligent kid. And then Daniel Honeycutt is playing quarterback right now for the 7-on-7 season. We're rotating those two in just to kind of get both of them some reps of throwing. But the way our offense is going to be built, we're going to be running the ball quite a bit. And so having Honeycutt at one of the kind of the wings is going to be a little bit more dangerous for us. And then putting Swanson, a guy that's really intelligent, they can distribute the ball. Putting him at quarterback is going to be kind of where we're at. And the best thing about both of them is, Swanson, he kind of tweaked his arm a little bit just throwing so much that Honeycutt was able to step in, take over, be able to run the offense accordingly.
Good,
and so
smooth transition.
Yeah, and then we have a young guy. We have a couple young guys. We got a transfer. We got a couple transfers that we're trying out. And so we have one young guy that's trying out a quarterback, and then we have a freshman that came up from the middle school. He's again, they're much more point guard type of guys where they're going to distribute the ball, they're going to make the right decision, they're going to make the right calls, they're going to kind of walk in with the kind of the temperament of, I got to settle everyone down. I've got to lead the offense down the field. I got to make sure I make right calls. So we have two guys, Jose Gutierrez, and we have another young guy that we brought on. So
good deal. All right, so I think your guy graduated. Is that right? His guy graduated. So
our starting quarterback was Raymond. He graduated. Now we have Braden Ellis. Braden Ellis has he's just improved really well, man. Leaps and bounds, making good throws. He's tremendously accurate. And then we have Brady Burchett, who's like the point guard type you speak of. We'll have formations and packages for him because he's just in space. He's gifted. He can run really well. He makes the throws that he needs to make in the packages we'll have to him. But he's definitely a threat with his feet and running out in space. And we'll move him. We'll have him at quarterback, running back. We'll have him at slot receiver. Things like that to move him all over the place to get him involved. But right now it's definitely Braden Ellis. He's a pocket passer and he throws really well, gets the ball out fast, and has that charisma about him that he knows he can make all the throws. He'll run when he needs to. Doesn't run when he have to, but he'll definitely run when he needs to run. But his best feature is definitely just taking command of that offense and knowing that he can march down the field and knows what plays to make and what hash and things like that. You could talk to him like he's like one of the guys on staff. And that was a great thing with Raymond as well. When those guys get comfortable to the point where they're like, hey, coach, we can run this instead of that, that would work too. And then we check it out and we think it's definitely a piece that we love having,
I think for us, it's, Reed Bryant's back again this year. He's sort of taking control of it right now. He's done a really good job. He's improved a lot going into his junior year. JT Sims, he played some for us last year. He's a guy that will move around, some quarterback, slot, wing, does a little bit of everything. So he's a good guy that we can mix up and play in those different areas. So got a young kid, Deere. Nathan's coming over. He's a freshman, so he's a young guy trying to learn the ropes. It's always fun to with the young guys, teach them from the ground up,
Mm-hmm.
So we're learning, he's learning and trying to learn the system and the throws and all that. So we're getting there with him. So progressing in a good area. I like where we're going.
I think that's one of the most ultimate forms of, confirmation that you really know what you're doing if you're an offensive coach, is if you can teach a young man from ground zero, from mechanics, reads, progressions to throws, and he turns into something that can be the manager or the integral piece of your offense, man. That's always been a fascinating thing for me to think about, when it comes to quarterbacks. That's why playing quarterback when I was young was so important to me, and I loved it and I enjoyed it so much, because once you can get that tunnel vision, and I always believe tunnel vision is true. Once you see it and you're like, okay, we're about to score here, even before ball snap, when you get that kind of confidence in you, it's really, really a great feeling, and it's good to see from a coach that a quarterback does that. I know some people in here, you've seen that on a few moments. Hopefully he threw some touchdowns for you. I think he's back there somewhere.
Quite a few.
But and I know you've had a great quarterback just recently as well that, when he's out in space and you see him run, you probably start cheesing from ear to ear too. Yeah. So.
Well, sometimes if he's running to the sideline, yes. If he's running into linebackers, no.
But I definitely think that piece is the one that I enjoy about developing quarterbacks and new quarterbacks, man. For real.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So let's do this. So name me a really good lineman that you think has a prospect, maybe looking to go to college level, a lineman.
Ooh. We have young guy, old guy.
Either one you got.
We got a freshman, Logan. Super coachable. He's one of those guys that does a really good job of taking mental reps. So when we have our older guys up there, he's sitting back and watching what they're doing, and then he takes the coaching that kid received and then applies it, and he's not going to make that mistake himself, which has been really, really impressive, because you generally see, you get these ninth graders and they still think they're in middle school, and they think it's kind of like this funsy, and football is fun, but there's a lot more. They think they can play a little bit more, and you have to set the tone pretty quick, like, hey, This is what practice actually looks like. And so, Logan's done an incredible job lining up. If he could definitely be a college athlete. What about you?
I'd say we got a really young Lucas. I can't say his last name Lucas because it's I would butcher it, but but he's only going to be a sophomore. But he's like 6'5", 260, 280. He's really big. But he was a freshman last year. Just movement and staying low and all the things. But like even today at practice, I've seen him really move that I haven't seen before. So I see some really good things coming out of him that I haven't seen before. So I think he's got the grades, he's got the stature, he's got the build, but you got to have that or they're not going to look at you. So I think as he progresses from a sophomore on, if he continues to move in that positive direction, I think the sky could be his limit. So what do you think about you?
I'm going to go with the obvious for our guys. We're loaded on offense and defensive line, but it's Bryce. It all starts with Bryce Brooks. He's going to be a junior. He's 6'5", 235, and he's our edge rusher. He's got a great motor. First step is very, very, very fast, and he's just a physical country kid, man. And
so he lives in Woodlawn.
He's out there. He's out there with the horses.
He lives on Lake Road.
Out there about Big Rock.
He's a big kid and 4.0 student, Health Science Academy, very coachable, very good attitude, and family's great. And it starts with that, but I can go down the line. We have a good.
When we play, you guys just let him rest.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him chill out.
Take some time off.
Give him rest.
Just a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
We got just a few seconds left, guys. So again, thank you guys for joining in, and we appreciate West Creek, we appreciate Northwest and Rossview, the whole gamut's here today. So Coach's Corner, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Look forward to the next episode. Don't forget to tune in. Have a great day.
For current and exclusive content, subscribe to CDE Lightband, connecting you at the speed of light.